Howdy, Coach.
Howdy.
We'll begin with the opening statement from Coach, and then we'll go ahead and go to questions whenever you're ready, Coach.
After evaluating the film from the Alabama game, disappointed, of course, obvious in the outcome, but disappointed in some things in which we did. Both sides had some opportunities in the game to maintain and stay in the game. Had to match some scores early, move the ball well on offense. In the first half, we had a missed field goal and a drop ball that we could have scored 4 times in the first half and kept that game really to a 1 possession game, or maybe a 2 with an 11-point game, and with the possibilities. And we need to do that. We moved the ball well in the second half. Got to capitalize on those opportunities and can't have we had a critical turnover for a pick that was there. Defensively, played the run very well. Gave up big plays in the passing game. 2 of them on 3rd and 8 and 9, 1 of them on a 2nd and 22. I mean, they have really good players, but we've got to get that contesting balls and our techniques and our alignments where we're at, and playing a little bit better in those situations and where we're going. And and on the special team, we had to miss field goal. Covered the ball well. Last year, I'd say punt and kickoff return was a problem. We kicked the ball out of the end zone there. Punt team did a good job. Only punted twice in the game, so I didn't let Waddle have any chances at that. But in that regard, but got to continue to get better. Got opportunities. Got to understand how to capitalize on opportunities, and understand when the game gets like that, you got to match scores, and all the little details and every little thing matters. And disappointing, because I thought we could have done that and had the opportunities to do it, and our players are too. But not discouraged, and we get ready to play a very good Florida team this week. Lock up, correct those mistakes, and keep these young players going. Keep the older guys, keep them going, and get better and play a very good game this week. Questions?
All right, our first question is from Chip Howard from Sports Talk 1150, and then we'll go to Gabe Bach and then Olin Buchanan.
Jimbo, I want you to talk about Kyle Pitts and the matchup problem that he presents to defenses.
Wow, you start off right off the bat, boy. I mean, he's so unique, and he's a tight end, but he's a wide out because he can block and do it. I mean, because he has such vertical skills and makes so many contested catches. If you really watch the film, it's not only him getting open, which he gets open, but when he's covered, he's still not covered. His ball skills, and Trask does a really good job, I think one of the best of the quarterbacks, throwing to covered guys and throwing them open. And what I mean is putting the ball where they can get it, no one else can get it, and they use the size and length and the ball skills to adjust. It's a combination of Trask and him, but he is such a unique talent because his verticality, his versatility, move in and out. And our tight ends really run well. This guy runs like a wideout. I mean, he has really, really great top end speed, good accelerations and ball skills. I mean, they'll put him out there and back shoulder fade him, dig him, throw him up. I mean, there's just so many ways he gets the ball. And I mean, you got to know where he's at and how you match him and what goes on. He's an extremely, extremely hard matchup.
If I could piggyback on that, I think I think he's already scored 6 touchdowns, and I noticed they're 11 for 11 in the red zone scoring so far. Is that part of it? I mean, obviously he's been a big part of that.
Go watch some of their catches and plays that they've made in the red zone. I mean, those guys are covered, and those guys are making plays on contested balls and catches, which is what has to happen. When you have great red zone people or great red zone teams, you go back and you really research it. There was years and I go back, we led the country with it at Florida State. You got big bodies, guys that can make contested catches, break tackles when they run, things like that in that regard. And he does an excellent job of that. And there are other guys, not just him, Tony, all the other guys. I mean, all the receivers, and they got big receiver. Grimes, those guys are 2 of them shorter, and Grimes are 6'4", 6'5"-ish. Tony's so quick. I mean, he can change direction, stick his foot in the ground, accelerate. And you got, there's matchup problems all the way across the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next question comes from Gabe Bach from Texas, and then we'll go to Olin Buchanan.
Yeah, Jimbo, what do you think is the number one factor when you've got the football and limiting your offense's ability to hit big plays down the field? Do you think that you currently have the personnel in place to start?
Well, we had 10 big plays. And we had 10 big plays in the game.
Stretching through the air.
Well, just getting the ball out on rhythm, running with it. That's what we do. We hit a nice on one. We hit actually on 2, a couple of deep balls. We got to get better at, and we got to get releases on. We tried to throw some go routes down the field. We got to squeeze and give the quarterback a little more room on some of them where our angles coming out, we're eating up the space to be able not to back shoulder if they're on the top. And those are technique things that can be very easily corrected, like in the red zone 2 or 3 times, which we had. But, far as moving it and getting it down the field, we want to take more shots. We have 2 or 3 called. They protected. They got us. Once was a protection issue. We had to just throw it away. But we'll continue to do that. We want to throw it down the field. We're going to keep throwing it down the field. In that game, the way we were mixing and matching it, though, the intermediate game was so successful, you didn't have to take tons of shots to create negative plays in your pass protection if you had to do it. But we're going to continue to work on that. And we had some call that we had to check it down. Guys weren't open, and we just checked it down and found the underneath. I mean, in that regard, Kellen, his decision making as far as where to go with the ball and the things like that, not putting the ball at risk. I mean, he had one poor throw on the corner route, but other times about that decision making was actually really good, and he got us in, kept us in good down distance. And we had a lot of yards after catch in what we were doing underneath.
We'll go to Olin Buchanan, and then Brent, you're up next.
Hey, Jimbo, a couple things. First of all, back to Pitts.
I can barely hear you, big guy. I'm sorry. I could hear you just faintly.
Let's see. I wonder if I can figure out.
If you talk right there, I can hear you. Just go ahead. I can barely hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. You have a history of doing well with tight ends. So does that give you a better frame of how to contain a guy like Pitts? Because y'all use the tight end so much in your history.
We have, but I mean, he has such versatility. He may even have more versatility than I've ever had in a guy because of pure size and just outright burst speed. I mean, and we've had some, like I say, really good ones, but you do. And I think, it's the thing they do. A lot of guys bang him off the ball. I mean, you can test him off the ball, but then they split him out. Then do you double cover him? Do you roll coverage to him? And then and those types of things. I mean, you have to know where he's at, and then you're going to have to pick your time because their quarterback is very smart, and he's going to see that and go to the other weapons in which they have when you leave yourself vulnerable to other spots, and you're going to have to keep and mix and match those types of things. But hopefully it does. We've had conversations, me and Mike and we've definitely had conversations, because I've even asked them, is there other ways they're using that maybe we could use our guy? I mean, you're constantly learning off people who do those things too. And we've talked about ways that I've had guys that have helped shut our guys down. We've definitely done that as a game plan. So we're looking for those answers. That's for sure.
And one more thing, Coach.
Yes, sir.
If you can still hear me. So in what ways do you feel like y'all have made progress to being the kind of program that you're trying to build here?
I mean, one, we expected to win the game. We first got it. We didn't expect to win those games. I think our physicality up front and the defensive line has become very good. I think even though in the secondary, there's still some very good young players in there, older guys. There's some secondary wise, our skill guys on offense. We run much better. We got good size coming in. We got some youth. We're creating more plays. We're moving the football consistently. Our young backs, I mean, are going to be really good players, and we'll keep getting these young guys in. Our offensive line in that game, we ran the football well. We didn't have a sack in the game, had some pressures, but before we had been, dominated up front at times. We're getting pushed around, knocked around, and different things in which we were able to do, sustain drives. Like I said, we had the ball, should have scored 4 out of 7 drives in the first half. We had 2 touchdowns, missed a field goal, and had a drop ball. And the other times, I thought we should have got an interference call on one of those, but hey, we'll see on that when we get it back. Could score it in the second half 4 straight times going to the red zone. So, I mean, the constant movement of the ball, defensively up front, we got to get the big plays taken care of on defense. But I think we're making tons of progress. And a lot of our players that are making that contribution are very young football players.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Brent Swarneman from the Houston Chronicle, and then we'll have Tyler Shaw.
How's this, Coach?
I'm good, Brent. I can see you.
Okay, good. Hey, that was along my lines. I was going to ask you just kind of big picture stuff. Are you about where you thought you would be in year 3? And also, do you feel like you need to offer the reminder that the guys you've recruited to this program are still underclassmen?
Well, I mean, it's not that. I'm not trying to prove anything. At the end of 3 years, we'll look and see where we are in our evaluations of what we need to do. We still feel like we have a great recruiting class coming in, and what we're doing now. We love our young players. The older players have gotten better, and what we've done. So, we feel in the progress is there, but until you win them all, you're never satisfied. Till you win every one of them, guys. I mean, and I know that as a coach, I mean, even with the great runs we had at Florida State, I mean, even though I remember we won 29 in a row, and I'm not saying it, but I was still not happy. I mean, it's just the things you do. I mean, we have to get there, and we have to learn to play in those games, and we have to play, like I say, the critical plays and critical moments when we match them. And that's where things, to keep the pressure that the game is there. And we had it there, then we let it slip away again, and then we come right back on it, and then let it slip back away. I mean, but we need to learn that a little quicker, and we need to get that taken care of very quickly, because I'm not satisfied with anything that's going on as far as, till you win them all. And that's our goal, and that's why we're here, and we're going to work relentlessly till we do that.
And as far as those guys being underclassmen still, your recruits to this program?
Well, I mean, I love our young players. I think there's some really good young players, and we're trying to develop those guys and get more of those guys on the field, not trying to get older guys off, but just to get more depth because you're playing a deep schedule and what goes on. And we're very happy with those guys. I mean, there's some really good players, I think, I say, hopefully one day make a lot of money, but more importantly, win a lot of football games around here and get a great degree.
Last one from me.
Yes, sir.
What went into the process of Haynes King coming in late and, overall evaluate Kellen's game? He had good numbers, and then going with Haynes late in the game.
He did. Kellen had good numbers. He had one critical mistake on the throw. He's got to get that. And it was a right decision, and he had pressure, and he was trying to make the throw early because we had some pressure and we shouldn't have. But at the same time, making that throw, miss a little more outside. The decision was good. The throw can't be left inside. And for this most part, decision-making on the day was really good. A couple things we wish he had. There's 4 or 5 little throws and dinks. I wish, could have found a check down one time, maybe on an option, keep pressing it. One time we did. But, I mean, he played a football game. But if you don't win, that doesn't matter. We'll continue to go for those things and look at the things we can go, because there's always, when you got the football in your hand as a quarterback, the thing you take the responsibility of, that there's always more you can do because you have that control and you get the guys around you to do those things. But Haynes was, we want to get him on the field, get him playing. And as Zach, and I'm not disappointed in Zach. Zach has done a great job. They're right there playing, getting reps each and every day, both guys. But Haynes hadn't played, so I thought it was an opportunity right there. And they left their ones in the game. I mean, they're one on defense. Alabama never subbed the whole game on offense or defense. So there was, as far as it's a little subs are normal, but they're a normal group of guys that played on offense and defense were there on offense all the way through to the end and on defense all the way through the end. So I thought it was a very good opportunity to get him some time. Zach played some last year, and to get him some field time and just see how he reacted and what he did and where his development was. And I thought he did an excellent job. And like he says, he comes off to me, I thought you did. He said, yeah, and I left that ball inside. And that's ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. But we should have gave him a lot more room. We have to help him with that route. It's a two-pronged deal there when you're talking about that, when that ball's released. So, but that's kind of his mentality. He's a guy that, listen, if it ain't right, he's going to be the first one. He's the hardest critic on himself by far. But I thought he did a nice job as far as composure to go in a game and compete and run the offense and make the calls, and made you feel very, things I've been seeing, we're starting to see in practice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Tyler Shaw from KBTX, and then we'll go to Travis Brown.
Coach, Alabama could very well, probably have the best receiving core in the country. But when you look at coming up, Florida, they've got a potent air attack, even Mississippi State next. So I guess, how do you fix defending in the secondary and so you don't give up so many big plays?
Well, sometimes how you look at somebody is the schemes may be different, even though they may have success in different ways. So your coverages and the things you do and the matchups you have could be different or not. We have to evaluate that film and see, because as I say this all the time, you see it whatever sport you're in, whether it's boxing, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, whether it's hitters and batters, matchups become big in sports. And the way Alabama matched up and the things we did, because we would try to take Waddle away and get double coverage and things. And then all of a sudden, you get the other ones, and you'd pick and choose when you got that, and they got back to it, and the quarterback made good decisions. So hopefully we'll look at the matchups of how they're all having success. And I'm sure they're going to try some of the things Alabama did. We'll look at those things and how the matchups are and how our players match against them and the types of schemes in which they run to see if different coverages and different pressures or different, scenarios work. That's a game plan deal. Yes, sir.
All right, next up we have Travis Brown from the Bryant College Station Eagle, and then we'll go to Mike Lucas. Travis, we can't hear you.
Is he on there? Did he talk? I don't even see Travis. Oh, there he is. You're on mute, Trav. You're on mute, buddy. You're off mute. Can you hear you? Can't hear him. Dadgum.
Hey, Travis, while you try to fix that, we'll go to Mike Lucas from KX.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'll teach Travis how to unmute himself next time I see him.
He unmuted. I just something must be a back connection.
But Coach, I kind of want to piggyback off what Tyler asked. And when you guys are getting beat deep, are those mistakes that you can correct in a week of practice? Or
yes, there are. You look at why they happen. One was on a double coverage. We were bracketing in and out. The guy's got to squeeze on the dig more from the outside in when he's playing the dig, because the safety is if he's driving down on it, the other guys, he makes it double move. If you give him room to double move you back outside, that nickel, and they've got to help squeeze that pocket to not let that get through as clean, and we got to squeeze it better, not drive as hard. One of them, we were in man coverage with Miles, and they're running the corner route, and he's got him covered well. He's pressing the heck out of him, and their feet got tangled up, and he tripped. And I mean, but it can't happen. I mean, you can't let that happen. And the other was a press technique that we didn't get our hands on a guy off the line of scrimmage, and we got to contest the ball and play through it through the hands. Yes, but it's from a technique thing, experience thing, and those situations. Yes, you can, and we've got to work our tails off to get there.
And I got one more real quick, Coach. The option play has been pretty successful for you guys through 2 weeks. Is that something you've liked what you've seen from Kellen and how he's operated that play with Anias?
Yeah, we have ran that play really well. I mean, one time the other day we should execute a little bit better, would have helped. I mean, that's the only time we've been negative on it. But if in the right time and the right look, it's something that's not always there all the time because people play different techniques, like you say, on defense that don't allow that play. And other times you do, and you pick and choose when you can find it. And sometimes in some blitz situations or different times, it helps your guys and lets your linemen actually go back a guy so their angles are much better and makes better blocks and just gives the defense something to think about in different times in which we do. And plus, Kellen's a very good athlete, and Anias or Spiller, whoever the tailback that happen to be Anias at times are in there, but it could be Spiller or whoever that, it's a play to get to the edge.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll try to go back to Travis with the Eagle.
Still can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah, we're still not getting you. All right, we'll move on to Mark Passwaters with Rivals.
Hey, Coach. Hopefully, I'm not having the same problem that Travis is.
No, I got you. I got you, Bo.
Iffy connection. But I wanted to ask about the pass rush. It looks like it's been a struggle the first couple of weeks. Is there anything you can change? Maybe blitz a little more? Is that something that's been
which we did blitz on the one touchdown. We had pressure. We had pressure. The guy threw it off his back foot, rolling to the left, and made that when our feet got tangled up that time. We tried, but yes, we got to be able to blitz. We moved some more 9 techniques. We moved some more edges last game. But the thing about Alabama, because they run the ball and all of them will play action, they do such a really good job of transition from run to pass on your reads is a very big thing. Yes, you're exactly right, Mark. That was another thing. Like I said, we played to run well, but we still got to get more pressure on the quarterback to affect the quarterback. I totally do. Different schemes, different twist games, different stunts, and possibly more blitzes.
Okay. And a quick follow-up. Any word on the status of Eric Young? Looked like he hurt himself pretty good there.
He did, but it'd be a week-to-week deal. It should be a week-to-week thing. It's too early in the week yet to be able to tell anything.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Brian Peroni with 24/7 Sports, and then we'll go to Zach.
Just quick housekeeping real quick. I was going to ask about Eric Young, but also about Grayson Reed. Is there a
Yeah, Grayson hurt her lower body, and it will be a year-ending deal for him. He won't be able to come back the rest of the year, unfortunately.
It's disappointing.
Yes, very disappointing. Very disappointing.
And I know you've been asking about the downfield throws, but we keep hearing about the speed at wide receiver. You've lost you've lost Osmond and some of the experience in Buckley, but we keep hearing about the speed. Are there going to be more throws through the air, that maybe go over 20 yards now?
That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. We actually had about 11 called in the game. We had threw it about 4 to 7 from protection or coverage that went in the game. So that was in the first probably 25 throws, 30 throws, we had like 10 or 11 called. We ended up hitting 3 or 4, hit some things in what we did, or hit check downs because of how they played coverage allowed us to work underneath. But yes, we're going to continue to work down the field, get the ball down the field with these young guys. And as they keep developing and learning to squeeze, and we had some to give us more space on some of our things. There's a couple of those throws there that they ate some space up from splits and angles in which they come out on, and they got to continue to get better at that. So it's not just being able to run fast. It's how you run fast and the technique you run the route with. And they're continuing to get better, doing a good job, and we'll continue to work on that because you got to keep throwing the ball deep. Yes, sir.
I guess in that same vein, what about Damon Demas? We saw him in the first and second drives, but not much after that. I mean, he seems like a deep threat. Is he a guy we'll see?
Damon is keep developing. Damon's doing well. He's learning in practice each and every day. He's going to be an excellent player, and he's continued to grow, and we're very happy with his development. We're going to keep playing him as we can get him in there and keep going, and hopefully he'll keep developing, and we can get him in there more and more.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Zach Taylor from WTAW, and then we'll go to Justin Woodard.
Yeah, Jimbo, the communication struggles you guys had from the sidelines, having to burn a couple of timeouts against Bama.
Our young skill guy just missed signals. I mean, it was that simple. And Kellen went to line them up, and they were disoriented about what to do. So he just took a called timeout. Happened twice. We had two different guys just missed signals and just froze on a signal and couldn't get it. Something we do every day. And just being in the game, tired, and the reps and the things that went on. It would happen twice in the game. Was nothing more than they just missed a signal. It was that simple.
Well, talking about young skill players on offense and then on defense with the secondary, I mean, when you've had guys that have opted out this year that were veterans on both sides of that, how difficult is that to overcome those losses?
Well, it's always, anytime you lose a really good football player, it's always hard. But that's if they got injured, you'd have to do the same thing. So we have those plans, and that's no different than like we lost Grayson. Unfortunately, that's a guy that you can't play, and that's part of football. And with the things that are going on today, whether it's COVID or social justice issues and things of that, and that happens. And you'd love to have them. They would have been really good players. We loved them. We still love them. Wish them the best and hope they're doing well. And but would love to have had them here. There's no doubt about that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Justin Woodard with K-Eggs, and then we'll go to Sam Kahn with ESPN.
Coach, I know how the game flows dictates how you call a game, but can you run the ball better this week against Florida? Obviously, I know you probably pointed to that. Can you get Anais and 28 going a little bit more?
Yeah,
on the ground?
And our running game early, I was pleased with our running game. I thought we ran the ball well against Bama and kept a good mix in what we did. Then the score got out and we had to just keep going. We tried to control it, but in the second half, but was not disappointed in our running game. Our linemen blocked pretty well. We had 3 or 4 balls. Man, we just come off had a chance to really come out of there if we get one more inch on the block. But yeah, our running game is coming. You're going to have to. I think you got to keep good balance because their defense coordinator is a great guy. I've known him a long time. He blitzes and brings packages, and you got to have balance. You can't get one-dimensional against those guys, and it helps us control the football at the same time. Even though we controlled it 37 minutes last week, it's still you got to be able to do that.
And then following up on that, obviously we've seen a lot of points being scored in the SEC. Can your offense get to the 38 and 40 points?
Yes, we can. They're right there in the opportunities. What we're pointing at. So that's what's disappointing, that this little details of plays right there to do it. Not miss a field goal, not finish a drive down there. We had to go for it on downs down there once or twice that we got to get done. It's right there. They're right there to make the yards. We're movement. We just got to finish in the red zone, have attention to detail in those critical situations. Without a doubt, we can. Should have. And both games this year, we both should have been in the 40-point total. Should have been in the 38 to 42-point total in both games. And we just got to finish that and do it.
Okay, next up we have Sam Kahn with ESPN, and then we'll go to Robert Cessna, and then Gabe, you'll wrap us up.
Jimbo, from an offensive standpoint, is there anything you can do schematically, or whether it's, maybe simplifying things just to help your offense get to the next level?
No, we're not. I mean, they know what to do. Had nothing to do with that. Just the technique of how to do it and do it at the critical times. And they not turn your head or drop a ball or things like that. I mean, our guys know what to do and how to do it. It's just a matter, we got to do it consistently over and over, because you'll do it 3 or 4 or 5 plays and you'll have one little slip up. And we just got to do that more and more and more and more. And as their mental toughness and maturity grows, hopefully their execution will grow. And that's what you got to do. And we got to keep repping the thing. We've repped the things. We've ran in the game and practice. And the guys have done a good job at it. We've hit them in the game. Same plays that we let down, we hit in the games for big plays. We just got to continue to do it and not have little mental lapses in where we're going.
And when it comes to a program like Alabama, they obviously are the standard bearer in this conference. Mm-hmm. You've talked a lot about where you feel like your team is, but how do you narrow the gap between you guys and them as a program?
Keep working hard and recruiting hard. Keep working hard, working better, developing the culture of your toughness and mental competitiveness, and then keep recruiting very well. And you're going to have to get numbers of classes back to back. We've had 2 really good classes. The first class was a very good class, but then the second, third classes, when we got to full recruit, we've been excellent classes. We're on pace for another one, in my opinion, and you close it. And I think, if being on the field with them as good as they are right now, it has, and in my opinion, we have done a good job of that here. And I can see it on the field when we play them. I know it doesn't always seem like that in the scoreboard, but you can sense it from just the ability of how we move the football, different things in the game. We got to create some things on defense, but our fronts and some of the things we're doing, it is getting, in my opinion, but listen, they're always going to be there. So we're going to have to do that, or you got to play them each and every year. So we got to continue to recruit well and develop players and keep player development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Robert Cessna, and then we'll go to Gabe, and then we'll try Travis one last time, and that'll be it.
Jimbo, I was wondering about your history with Mullen. Both you guys are offensive guys. I wonder what similarities you saw in his offense and your offense, and maybe some differences.
Well, I mean, he's a spread guy, knows how to throw the football, but he also knows how to run the quarterback, which are both very similar to what we both have done in our past. We've been from no huddle. We've been wide open, no huddle to conventional or whatever you do. I mean, he has a great offensive mind. I think Dan does a great job. And we are probably, if you look at the films, that we're very similar in a lot of different ways. Runs we run, passes we throw, things we do. And, Mississippi State, when I was at Florida State, I'd often call him on, guys, teams he played in the SEC when we were playing there to get an opinion on something, do things. And I think he's a really good guy and a really good football coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Gabe Bach with Texas.
Yeah, Jimbo, while we're talking Florida, how about Kyle Trask? I mean, this guy didn't start in high school because he was behind De'Aaron King. How cool is that story? And is this a shining example of how good quarterbacks can come from all kinds of places and backgrounds?
Shows you how recruiting things go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not like he wasn't behind a rag guy. I mean, it happens and he develops out and it's out. I mean, it's a great success story. The guy's a heck of a football player. And I didn't realize that until I got here, that, when he was playing, he started playing and those stories started coming out, not this year, but before that, he had never started or done anything in high school. And that's an amazing deal. And for them to be able to recruit him and get him in the first place, that's even more amazing, probably so. But, you hear stories like that for all the big time recruiting situations that happen. There's still those stories out there, and there's still guys out there who work and grind and continue to get better at in college as they go on, and then they get their opportunities and take advantage of it. It's a great. I mean, he's done a heck of a job.
All right, we'll go to Travis. We'll see if this works.
Do you read me?
There we go.
There we go. Yes.
Hey,
all right.
Wait a minute. Hey, Travis, that play worked every week until this week. Why didn't it work just a minute ago? Now it works.
I don't know.
There's an example. Hey, there's an example of an offense where you say you've executed that play for every day, and then all of a sudden you couldn't execute it. Now you can execute it. Why is that, Travis?
I dropped the pass.
I joke about that, but hey, guys, that's about as good an answer as I can give you sometimes on a play. You lose focus, you hit a wire, something happens sometimes. I mean, but that's the reality of the world. So.
No eye discipline there, Coach.
Exactly.
So yeah, just curious I know there's a lot of factors that go into the offense with third down conversions, with drop passes and things like that. How much does controlling time of possession still factor into the way you scheme your offense this season?
Well, it does, but still, again, like I say, turnovers and big plays are huge. And we've been able to do both these last 2 weeks, actually, as far as big plays. Turnovers hurt us. I guess it's hurt us in both games. I mean, large numbers in the first one and the one critical one in this one. But it's still and who you play and how you try to keep it away. Also, how you match up. Do you want to give their offense the football? Do you not? I mean, Alabama, and that was another reason you keep saying big plays. But ideally, we would have liked to have had long drives like we had the first couple drives and some of those drives to help. You go taking shots all day, and if you don't hit them or don't, then you're giving the ball back to them too. So, I mean, the style of game, depending on who you play offensively, can also determine how many just numbers of huge shots you take down the field, because you would like to control the clock. Now, if we could have finished that drive in the first half, we were eating the clock and getting points. We could have got back to a one-score game and not give it to them because they went back down and scored in a minute 20. Those all factor, Travis, game by game, how much you try to control it, if that makes any sense.
For sure. Thank you for your patience.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, that's all we got, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.